Hey everybody, welcome to the Marketing Water Cooler Podcast. My name is Jeremy Francesi. Thanks for stopping by. Steph, what are we getting into on this one?
Let's talk about making digital deposits. What does that mean to you?
Well, in the spirit of our Thanksgiving episodes, we wanted to talk a little bit about bringing value to the table. And so how I want to frame this episode is your approach to social, your approach to digital. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of times we get caught up in social of like the return on it and the leads and the conversion, instead of looking at it as a way to add value, a way to add and contribute. And we say that all the time, right? We're like, get ahead of the need and educate. I'm going to tell one story and I'll frame it up that way. And then we'll open it up and Steph, you can kind of help guide us from there, okay? So when we talk about digital deposits, one analogy in a story, the analogy being like, I'm sure everybody listening or watching has heard this. If we treated relationships like bank accounts, we'd find ourselves hitting an empty account much faster, right? When you go into relationships constantly trying to take, eventually there's nothing left to take. Bank accounts the same way. If you keep going to that ATM, you keep swiping the card, and you don't put money in the account, at some point you're gonna go negative. And when you look at social, you look at the internet, the same kind of currency comes into play. So you'll see people that constantly are just promoting themselves, constantly just talking about things that really don't add value to anybody, it's just amplifying their voice. Are they visible? Yes. But are they making impact? Honestly, probably not, right? Because at some point, the social currency, the social balance of that relationship with that community is negative. All they're doing is screaming. And so we have to make deposits. So what I want to get at is I was talking to an attorney and a good relationship of mine, and we're talking about like how to approach and frame social. And this is somebody that bills $500 to $1,000 an hour. So for him, like contributing to social and adding value and messaging online is one of those things where it's like, he gets paid to spend time and solve real problems for his clients, right? So throwing away in his, in not his mind, but the perception of, well, why not just build more hours, right? That was the question. Why not just build more hours? And here's the kind of the punchline and kind of what I shared with him. In that industry, your majority of your business is coming from word of mouth. And the truth is, if you service your clients, you're going to drive business if you take care of them. And they're decent clients from a standpoint of they have a decent network themselves, right? But let's play another scenario. If you take 1, 2, 3 days a week and you outline a scenario, LinkedIn post, for example, just write out your scenario and you make a little deposit of here's the general situation that took place, here's what we learned, here's how we solved it, and you provide that little bit of legal counsel, right? You're not advising people, but you're providing insight into how to handle the situation. To be honest, for an owner, an operator, a manager, somebody that may have to manage or deal those types of situations, whether they have an attorney or not, the truth is, if their attorney isn't on social, then the only time they're getting to spend time with them and get value is when they're getting billed for their time, right? So your ability to add value to that digital conversation and the people around you to benefit from it and learn from it and be smarter, sharper, more effective without having to spend money for the advice and perspective and experience and judgment makes all the difference. So your ability to bill $500 or $1,000 an hour, right? Or be a premium value add, right? If you can contribute to the digital conversation by adding value, making deposits, not just taking, but giving, creating something that people genuinely would pay for, one, you won't have as many issues when you actually tell people what you charge because they'll understand why you're valuable because they'll come to you because they've learned and valued it. Two, to be honest, if you're in a position where you're trying to grow your rate, then you're contributing enough to the conversation where it should bring enough business back to you where you have the ability to increase your rate, right? Because otherwise you're basically just waiting for your clients to talk to other clients, or it's how many times can you be in the room, right? And then that's kind of where I'll frame it, and then stuff I'll open it up to you is, let's say you're that attorney and you're on 3, 4 boards, you're involved in the community, whether it's church, chamber of commerce, business, social, PTA, you're involved with everything. Why do we get involved? You get involved in those to be a contributing member of the community, to meet people, to build relationships. So why not take that same approach online? You're right, you're not shaking a hand physically. You're right, you're not showing up to the meeting every Tuesday and being visible, valuable, and front of mind for that part of the community. But who says that same effect isn't present online? Why not post every night at 7 p.m., just like you would by showing up, right? Why not put up a video of something and you can be top of mind, you can add value, deepen relationships, right? There's a lot you can do to add value. And I think sometimes, especially in industries that are a little bit more outdated, they may adopt technology, but their marketing and practices is still a bit old school on, it's predominantly on paid search and SEO and things like that. And then it's word of mouth. So this is the easiest, most comfortable pivot for you because everything you need to share and say is already in your calendar from what you're already doing every day. Steph, let's open it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Something I've been thinking about is it can feel ingenuine or disingenuous when you're making like scheduled posts and whatnot. So something I've been thinking about is how to make it seem genuine. Think about what you like to see. What do you like? Why do you follow X person? Why do you go back to this page? And see if you can kind of mirror that stuff as a place to start, especially, if you're kind of floundering and you're like, I don't know what to do. Start with what you like. What do you like to see? Why do you like to see it? Do a little like background analysis on, the things you have on your feed and be like, what do I go back to all the time and why?
Definitely. No, it's a great piece. I do want to say scheduling is not a problem. There's so many people that schedule things. What I would say is, it doesn't always have to feel like a press release. It doesn't always have to feel like this formal announcement. It doesn't have to feel like a TED Talk. Because most of the relationships you probably built were not done with formal press releases. It was because you shook somebody's hand, you met somebody, you had a really personal relationship, or a decent conversation. You felt like there was some synergy or a like-mindedness, and then you developed it from there. And so really the big takeaway here is when you think about going online, adopt the same approach you had in those traditional methodologies of getting involved in the community. Show up consistently, add value, be a positive light in the room from a standpoint of how do you want people to feel when you're there. And if you do those three things and you just bring it online, don't worry about the sales, don't worry about the leads, don't worry about the conversion. Show up consistently, add value, and shine the way you feel your personality shines. And if you do it consistently, everything works. Because again, you can't have a community without having an audience. Being consistent will help shape the audience. People that value what you're putting out, like how you do it, so on and so forth. And then from there, you can build community. And I know we've been talking predominantly with like the legal side. This goes with anybody that's getting paid for advice, quite honestly. If you're getting paid for your experience, your judgment, and your capacity to lead through an advisory function, make deposits, add value, because people are only going more digital. And so small things consistently can really help you grow, and eventually it will hit the bottom line and grow the business. Anything else on that stuff?
I think we've covered most of it. I mean, it really is sort of just as simple as if you come to the table with things you are proud of and, things you feel deeply about, people will react positively to it.
100%. What game are you in? You're either digital or you're not. And I hate to say it, but it's very binary. You're either participating or you're not. And we're going to see over the next year, 2, 3 years, those people that really do adopt digital, they're going to grow their business significantly faster than those that don't. It's just very, very simple. And it starts nicely by just contributing. Don't worry about the sales. Don't wait until your whole business is dependent on it. Just write a post and go from there. And so with that in mind, Thanksgiving style, right? Add value. Don't just go take the food and leave and go to the other room. Contribute to the conversation, add some value, and everybody will be happier that you're there at the table. Because isn't that really all it is? People wanting you at their table?
Generally.
Add some value. So, cool. Everybody, thanks so much for stopping by. As always, we got one more episode left of this season, which is crazy. That's what we got. So we'll be back with more very soon.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end. If you liked the video, smash the like button and hit subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the new episodes. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We will fold them into future episodes and make sure that you get the help and the answers you're really looking for all things marketing and communications.